I'm Jane Loughboro. I'm a third year,
And your college major.
and I am a Crown College affiliated plant sciences major.
In SUA's mission statement, it states, SUA promotes activism, civic participation, discussion, debate, and awareness of public issues from a variety of perspectives and viewpoints. If elected, how would you work to serve that part of the mission?
All right, so I think that SUA needs to be a lot more supportive and present when it comes to student activism, but I hold in my heart that it's true that SUA is not here to tell students what they need. So they need to be active in reaching out to students and seeing what student opinion is. Personally, I want to hold more town hall and discussion room type events and do more things like that, as well as launch several educational campaigns so that students can be aware of what's going on in terms of our administration and the UC system, even when there's not a major scandal going on, because those decisions affect our lives every day.
How would you describe SUA's current relationship with some MECA-identified organizations? Would you work to change it, and if so, how?
Yeah, so I think that SUA has a definite issue when it comes to that relationship, because this year the officers have been mostly focused on working on their own projects, which I think have been very good and have been very good for helping students. However, it's a lot more direct to be engaged with those spaces, especially outside of the SUA space. I also want SUA to become a more welcoming space because it's hostile even for the members within it, so it's very hard for someone to come into this space and feel like they can share their problems with us. Beyond that, I think it's necessary to work on collaborating with those organizations as well as bringing them into administrative spaces, because I'm not here to tell students, I'm not here to tell students what they need. And I think it's very important for SUA to use its advantages, the advantages that it has as an organization that has connections to administration, by amplifying those student voices.
There have been various instances of student activism on campus this quarter. If elected, would you support student activism? What would your role be in regards to student activism?
So I engaged in some of that activism this quarter, and I'm definitely in support of it. I think that SUA is obligated, like from a moral perspective, to support that activism, but I personally believe that, except for very broad issues, it's more effective if that organization comes from external spaces, because SUA has to operate by consensus because it's a representative space, and it's very difficult for 40 people to have a consensus about an activist message. I think it's a lot easier to mobilize SUA to go and be engaged with those kind of activities outside of the space, which is something that I would fight for.
What is something you would potentially do differently than the current SUA president?
Sorry. So I've been working in the office of the president this year, and there have been a few things that I've been disappointed with. I have seen this general attitude where the relationship to administration is placed above interacting with students, especially in regards to the activism that has happened recently, especially with the May Day protests that happened. And I think that while SUA does have a foot in the door when it comes to talking to administration, the best way it can serve students is by getting that door open. And it's not going to be able to fully relate to students or bring them into those spaces with an understanding of what they need if they're refusing to interact with students on a regular basis.